All right, welcome AP Euro students to your Unit 4 Test Study Guide review here. Our two big topics clearly are the scientific revolution and the Age of Enlightenment. These two play very well together. Scientific revolution is going to help inspire the Enlightenment, of course. We're really looking for logic and reason, empiricism. Empiricism is evidence that can be proved. It's hard factual evidence. And both of these movements really they're based off of that. They're looking at logic and reason. We get the development of the scientific method, of course. Neither one of these movements would be nearly as successful without the printing press, of course. Just as the printing press helped spread the ideas of the Reformation, it's going to help spread the ideas of the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment as well. We're going to kind of give Copernicus the nod for sort of starting off the scientific revolution. We know that his heliocentric theory is going to challenge ancient Greco-Roman ideas on how the universe was ordered, ideas that the church had leapt upon and made them their own. Kepler will come after Copernicus. He's going to give us elliptical orders, his orbits of the planets. His math is really going to help prove Copernicus's heliocentric model. But again, this still isn't widespread. Galileo will follow after him, and we know that Galileo, unfortunately, is put on trial for his support of the Copernican idea of heliocentric theory by the Inquisition, of course, and he's going to be put under house arrest. We know Galileo for his inventions of the telescope and finding the craters on the moon and the biggest four moons of Jupiter as well. After Galileo, our other big one is Isaac Newton. And Newton gives us, of course, his theories of motion and gravity and whatnot. Really, what these scientists give us is the idea that the universe exists according to fixed rules. And, these rules really can't be broken once we discover what the rules actually are. And that sort of gives people it makes the universe a reliable, orderly place. And they can get their heads wrapped around that. Adam Smith is he's a Scottish philosopher, if you will. He's going to be basically the father of capitalism, and he gives us his invisible hand theory. Basically saying that while people may have selfish desires in capitalism, those selfish desires are going to end up with economic benefits for the community. And so he's going to be very important. And we obviously know we still live in the age of capitalism for sure, and that capitalism will go up against some contesters such as communism as well later on. Let's see. Let's talk just a little bit about the Enlightenment and why it happens. You got to understand that the Enlightenment also plays off of something called the Commercial Revolution. All this trade, all this mercantilism, the new world being opened up, the Columbian Exchange, that leads to more people being able to get their hands on money. They have economic power, they have influence. And so it makes sense that these people would have more of a say in their everyday matters, that absolutism isn't going to work anymore, that these people have property, they have rights that can't be taken away from the government. So the commercial revolution also influences the Enlightenment. And the Enlightenment, of course, is a reaction to a reaction to absolutism. We have a period of absolute monarchs, and people just really get sick of that and the immense power wielded by a single person, of course. And the Enlightenment, they're going to borrow from the scientific revolution and the methodology of the scientific method. So logic and reason, empiricism, all those things. The Enlightenment ideas are going to spread through the Enlightenment salons, like you see in the picture here in this video. A lot of times hosted by women. They're reading great books of Enlightenment thinkers. They're dealing with social questions of the day and how they might apply the philosophies of these Enlightenment thinkers. You have monarchs who begin to look at the Enlightenment and take on some of its qualities. We would call them enlightened monarchs or enlightened despots. Joseph II is probably the best version of this, son of Maria Theresa, but he's far more liberal than she is. Frederick the Great of Prussia, Peter the Great and Catherine the Great of Russia would also fall under the category of enlightened monarchs, enlightened despots, rulers who, although they wield their power absolutely, they do see themselves sort of as servants of the state and that they sort of owe the people something. They're going to be more receptive to their people's wishes. Prussia, this will be the rise of Prussia. It's going to be one of the old Holy Roman Empire states that rises up and begins consolidating its power, and it becomes a great power in Europe in this time period, especially after it acquires Silesia from its neighbor and rival Austria, and that's going to help push Prussia over the top to becoming a great power. Some of our Enlightenment thinkers, of course, we know John Locke, our positive guy. People are created good, or people are born good, and they can improve. We know, of course, Hobbes is the opposite of that. We got Voltaire, our freedom of speech, freedom of religion guy. Voltaire really admired the enlightened despots like Peter the Great and Joseph II, people like that. And really, the French version of the Enlightenment thinkers, of course, was the philosophes, and they were always looking for critical and inquiring approaches to knowledge. Knowledge equals power. Knowledge and reason, logic. Keep those things in your mind first and foremost when you think about the Enlightenment. We also had the social contract with Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who kind of pushes that idea that there's sort of this contract between a ruler and its people, that the people owe the ruler some things and the ruler owes them some things as well. Thomas Hobbes would have seen the world much the same way. Our one lady that we focus on here in the Enlightenment is Mary Wollstonecraft, and we know that she was very adamant that women should be educated just as the men, and that really there's no difference between men and women except for physicality. That brain power and organization and abilities and things like that, there's no difference between men and women. So women should be educated as well. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's really what this is. The scientific revolution and the Enlightenment are challenging long-held beliefs of the day, whether that's through the governance of the people or the authority of the church. Both of these movements question those authorities. They begin demanding hard evidence, empirical evidence. They begin demanding more from the leaders, basically, and putting a little bit more on the people themselves rather than just the government. Okay, this should help you tremendously on your test. I hope you're studying hard. Good luck, and you got this.